The proposed auto-select algorithm is a first-order automatic task selection method that combines self-supervised learning and supervised learning to improve predictive performance. It involves randomly initializing parameters, followed by a self-supervised learning loop and a supervised learning loop, computing the hypergradient using equation 13, an efficient first-order approximation to equation 8. The algorithm is motivated by related techniques and proposes a first-order approximation to equation 8, treating the gradients of the supervised learning task as constants and applying the chain rule to obtain the hypergradient. The authors evaluate auto-select using the MIMICII dataset, preprocessing the data by normalizing values using z-scores and imputing missing values by carrying forward the last observation. They defined 3 primary supervised learning tasks: mortality, low blood pressure, and kidney dysfunction, and compare auto-select to several baselines, including supervised learning, pretraining, and co-training via multitask learning. The results show that auto-select outperforms the baselines in the low-resource regime, where only 1% or 10% of the training data is used. The authors propose auto-select as a metalearning framework that adaptively selects and weights auxiliary tasks for self-supervised pre-training to improve the performance of a target supervised task. The framework is evaluated on 3 clinical outcome prediction tasks, and the results show that auto-select outperforms various baselines, including pre-training on all tasks, top tasks only, and random task selection. An ablation study examines the quality of the selected tasks and their impact on the target task, and the results indicate that the top selected tasks capture the most useful information for the target task. The authors also analyze the learning dynamics of auto-select, showing that the performance of the target task improves significantly during the fine-tuning stage. Additionally, the authors investigate the generalization capabilities of auto-select, demonstrating that the learned weights can generalize well to new tasks. This research presents a novel approach to patient representation learning using electronic health records (EHR) data, focusing on automatic task selection and primary task training within a nested-loop metalearning process. The method demonstrates superior predictive performance, particularly in low-data scenarios, and has the potential to efficiently learn patient representations from EHR data, benefiting various predictive modeling tasks. The code for this method will be made available on GitHub. The broader impact of this work lies in its application to low-data scenarios, such as clinical use cases with challenging labeling or few eligible patients. However, ethical considerations associated with EHR modeling, including bias in observational data and fairness considerations in representation learning architectures, must be addressed. The paper also highlights the importance of semi-supervised sequence learning, attentive state space modeling of disease progression, and deep physiological state space models for clinical forecasting. These concepts are crucial for understanding patient health data complexities and predicting outcomes accurately. Deep learning models have the potential to improve healthcare outcomes, particularly in intensive care units. However, further development and validation are necessary to ensure their safety and efficacy before deployment in real-world clinical settings. The research emphasizes the need for careful consideration of the limitations and assumptions of EHR modeling, including issues related to data quality, patient heterogeneity, and model interpretability. Future work should focus on addressing these challenges and exploring the application of this method to various clinical domains. The paper provides a comprehensive overview of the current state of EHR modeling and highlights the potential of deep learning models in improving healthcare outcomes. The proposed method has the potential to make a significant impact in the field, and its open-source availability will facilitate further research and development. Here is a combined summary of pages 13-16. The proposed algorithm for automatic task selection, presented in Algorithm 2, combines self-supervised and supervised learning loops to improve predictive performance in critical care settings. The algorithm initializes parameters and iterates through self-supervised and supervised learning loops, computing gradients and updating parameters using gradient descent and hypergradient descent. The algorithm is evaluated using the MIMICII dataset, which is preprocessed by harmonizing medical codes, converting units, removing outliers, and normalizing values. The task definitions and statistics are presented in Table 5, including the number of positive, negative, and excluded encounters for each task. The hyperparameter selection is presented in Table 6, including learning rates and state size for the LSTM model, selected based on validation metrics such as AUC and MSE. The proposed method, auto-select, is evaluated in a comprehensive study on predicting patient outcomes in critical care settings, focusing on 4 primary tasks: mortality, shock, kidney failure, and liver failure predictions. Auto-select leverages auxiliary tasks related to physiological time series data to improve predictive performance in low data scenarios. The results from Tables 7 and 8 demonstrate that auto-select consistently outperforms 2 baseline methods, pretrain, all, and cotrain, in all 4 tasks, especially in low data scenarios. Table 9 highlights the top features associated with each primary task, providing insight into the most relevant physiological parameters for predicting patient outcomes. The findings suggest that incorporating relevant auxiliary tasks can significantly enhance predictive capabilities when data is scarce, contributing to the development of more accurate predictive models for critical care settings. The dataset utilized in the predictive model encompasses a wide range of physiological and laboratory parameters essential for patient monitoring and clinical decision-making. These features, sourced from the MIMIC Critical Care database, include blood pressure measurements, cardiac output rates, glucose levels, and other vital signs. The input features are categorized into groups such as respiratory parameters, cardiovascular parameters, laboratory test results, and other physiological parameters. Each feature is represented by a harmonized name, display name, MIMIC code, LOINC code, units, and count, with units of measurement specified for each parameter. This comprehensive dataset enables the development of a predictive framework that can accurately forecast patient outcomes, aiding in clinical decision-making. Here is the summary of pages 2122 and 2324, assuming the content for pages 2324 is provided. The authors propose a novel approach to address the problem of noisy labels in deep learning, specifically focusing on the white buzz effect. This phenomenon occurs when a model's predictions are overly confident, leading to a buzz, or noise, in the output. The authors demonstrate that this issue is prevalent in various classification tasks, including image and text classification. They argue that existing methods, such as label smoothing and confidence penalty, are insufficient in mitigating this problem. To combat the white buzz effect, the authors introduce a new regularizer, termed buzz regularizer, BR, which encourages the model to produce uncertainty-aware predictions. The BR regularizer is formulated as the Kullback-Leibler divergence between the model's output distribution and a uniform distribution, promoting a more uniform probability distribution over the classes. The authors theoretically analyze the properties of the BR regularizer, showing that it can effectively reduce overconfidence in model predictions. Experimental results on several benchmark datasets, including CIFAR-10 and IMDb, demonstrate the effectiveness of the proposed method in improving the robustness of deep neural networks to noisy labels. The authors also provide visualizations of the predicted probability distributions, illustrating the reduced overconfidence achieved by the BR regularizer. Furthermore, they discuss the limitations of their approach, including the assumption of a uniform distribution over classes, and highlight potential avenues for future work, such as incorporating domain knowledge into the regularizer.